Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. Welcome. Thank you all for joining. Tap in, tap in, tap in on this beautiful Thursday. How is everyone? It's Thursday. I am waiting for people to join the chat. Um, I know a couple of people said they will be joining tonight, so I'm just trying to give people some time. Happy Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. If you all are not aware, this is the Master Your Money Budgeting Series. So, I am doing a 4 week series for the month of April. April is Financial Literacy Month. And so, tonight we will be conducting week 1 and 2. I did have a family emergency last week. So last Thursday I wasn't able to attend, but I am here now. Happy Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. Again, go ahead if you are here, go ahead and drop a hello in the chat. Definitely talk back. If you are here, again, bring your notebook, pen, pencil, whatever you like to write with, right? Because note takers are money makers. And tonight we are talking about mastering your money. Note takers is money makers. Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. I see some people coming into the room. Thank you all for joining. Again, it is Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. And for the month of April, it is Financial Literacy Month. And so we are going to be discussing financial literacy. And we're going to start with talking about mastering your money when it comes to a budget. So, the month of April, we're going to be discussing mastering your budget, mastering your money. Again, get out your pen, paper, pencil. Again, note takers are money makers. Hey, Michaela. Hey, Sierra. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. Happy Thursday. Tax Tea Tish with Thursday. So, as you all know, I did miss last week due to a family emergency. So, I don't want to keep you all too long, but I am going to go through everything as well. So, again, if you need me to slow down, if you need me to repeat something, just say so. And again, this is 2 weeks worth of information because I do want to stay on track with the month of April and Financial Literacy Month. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So, again, tonight we're going to be talking about mastering your money with LC Financial Solutions. And welcome, welcome, welcome. For those who don't know me, I am Letitia Wilson, the owner of LC Financial Solutions, where we specialize and strategize in helping high income earners and business owners to maximize their wealth and minimize their taxes. Now, if you say, wait, I'm not a business owner and I'm not a high income earner, that is okay, right? Because at the end of the day, the goal is to get you to be a high income earner. And high income earning doesn't necessarily have to be from working a W 2 job, right? It could be some type of investment, mailbox money, as people like to call it sometimes as well. So if you are not a high income earner, but you are not there yet, if you're not a high income earner, yeah, and you are not there yet, we are here to help you get through it, right? Or get to it, I should say, right? We want to help you get to that goal. So again, welcome. Thank you all for joining. I have owned LC Financial Solution for about 5 years now. I can't believe I'm saying that. Yeah, so about 5 years. I do have a business degree, a business administration, a bachelor's in business administration, and I've also taken additional tax courses as well. You can look me up on the IRS website. Yeah, yay. So let's get started here. Okay. So week one, again, we are combining week one and week two together. So week one, we're going to talk about awareness and tracking when it comes to your budget, right? We're going to talk about creating that budget, setting up the categories you need to be able to track your budget, and then also go over homework. Because what is a webinar without homework, right? You need homework. So that's why I say money makers, right? We have to be able to master our money in order to find out where it's actually going. And so when we talk about mastering money, we want to talk about a budget, right? And what is a budget? Because some people don't even know what a budget is. A lot of people don't even have a budget, right? Type in the chat if you have a budget, if you don't have a budget. Let's see what's going on, right? So type budget or no budget. And if you don't have a budget, then that's okay, because at one point in my life I didn't have a budget either. I would just get paid, pay bills, whatever's left over, and almost blindly spend, if I would say. So, what is a budget? So, a budget is a plan to help you manage your money. Again, in order to master your money, you have to manage your money. You cannot master your money without managing your money. It also helps you allocate resources effectively to help meet financial goals. Now, going through this series, we do want to set up goals, right? We want to set up a short term goal, a long term goal as well. And short term can be anywhere between 3 to 6 months. And a long term goal can be anything more than a year, I would say. And when we set these goals, we want to make sure that they are realistic to ensure that whatever your goal is, your budget allows that goal, right? We don't want to say, I want to save $5,000 in 3 months, and your budget doesn't allow that. Maybe you can save $500 in 3 months, right? That's more realistic. And then also with a budget, it helps you to avoid debt and help you save for future needs as well. So you need a budget to help you stay out of debt, and you need a budget to help you save. So that is huge, right? When it comes to mastering your money, you want to be able to figure out where your money is going and how you can get more of that coming in. And so now we're going to discuss the benefits of budgeting. So some people feel like, I don't need a budget. I'm okay with living check to check. Oh, sorry, I went too fast. I'm okay with living, check to check. I don't really need a budget, right? And honestly, everyone needs a budget. Everyone should have a budget. It doesn't matter if you make $500 a month, $5,000 a month, or $500,000 a month, right? Everyone needs a budget. So the benefits of having that budget is being able to have financial control, right? You're able to gain insight into where your money is going. You can actually see where your money is going, because a lot of times, you don't even look at your bank statement, right? So if you're not even looking at your bank statement, you don't have financial control because you don't know where your money is going. You just know that you have enough to pay whatever bills or debt that you have, and then you keep it pushing towards the next month. And that is not what we want to do. Another benefit of having a budget is saving goals, right? Once you identify your budget, you are allowed to allocate funds for savings and investment and prepare for larger expenses and financial milestones. So, with having a budget, you want to be able to save, maybe save for maybe 3 to 6 months if you are become unemployed, or maybe even save for your insurance premium if you were just so happen to get in an accident, because we all know that if you have full coverage car insurance and you get into an accident, guess what? You still have to pay that premium. It doesn't matter if it's $500. It doesn't matter if it's $1,000. It doesn't matter if the accident is your fault or not, right? They're going to want that premium before they even start the process. So we want to be able to save, right? Save for, again, special occasions or unexpected occasions as well. And the last benefit, or I'm not going to say the last benefit, but the last on this list for a benefit is debt management, right? As America as a whole, we have over, I believe it's $37 trillion in debt. And I mean, that's speaking from the low end, right? $37 trillion. And out of that $37 trillion, how much debt do you have? So we want to be able to manage our debt that we have and also lower that debt to where we don't have debt, right? We want to be able to get out of debt. A lot of Americans are in debt, whether that's credit card debt, student loan debt, pay loan debt, car debt, whatever debt that you have, you want to be able to not only manage that debt, but also pay it off, get out of that debt so you're not repeating the cycle over and over again. And so next, this is where the pen and paper, get your pen and paper out, get your pen and paper out, right? So the next step that we're going to talk about is steps to creating your budget, right? So tracking your income is the key of creating a budget. If you're not tracking your income, you cannot have a successful budget, right? So start that budget today. Now, I do have a budget tracker. That's a digital PDF that you all can download. If you all do want that digital PDF, you can just type budget tracker in the chat, and then I'll send you over email with that budget tracker. But I told everyone to bring a pen and paper because at the end of the day, that's where it started at, right? Pen and paper. You don't really need a budget tracker. You don't need a budget planner, right? We want to get you to the basics, right? It's nice to have those things because it makes you feel like, okay, you're leveling up and you're doing things in that next step. But honestly, all you need is pen and a paper, right? When it comes to creating that budget. Now, if you signed up for the budgeting course, I told you to bring 3 months of your bank statements to the course. Right. And if you don't have that right now, that is okay. So for next week and the week going forward after that, you want to be able to bring your bank statements to class because we're going to help you basically digest that bank statement and help you understand how to read your bank statement and where all of your money is being allocated. So when it comes to creating that budget, you want to be able to track your income, right? So income is earned money, right, that you've received. So you want to identify all sources first. So write this down. You want to write income, and then you want to write down all the income that you make. So if that's your salary from your W-2 job, you might do Amazon Prime or DoorDash or Uber on the side. You want to add that. If you have 2 or 3 jobs, you want to add each source of income that you have, right? And if you don't know how much that you're making monthly, you want to do it monthly and biweekly. So if you're not sure how much you make monthly or biweekly, depending on your position or job that you have, just because again, if you are hourly, your hours can increase. One week you may get 40, sometimes you may get over that, but you want to average out the amount that you would typically get throughout your work week or pay period, right? And even if you're a business owner and you're watching this and you're trying to learn to create a budget, your income isn't always the same every month. So you definitely want to make sure that when you are tracking your income, track your income monthly or even bi-weekly, depending on how you receive your income. Even if you receive income on a weekly basis, track that. That should go under your income. And so now that you have your income, the next step is to identify the categories of your expenses, right? There are 3 categories. You have your fixed expenses, you have your variable expenses, and you have your discretionary expenses. And so with those expenses, all 3 of those categories are the only 3 categories you're going to need when it comes to creating your budget. So when it comes to creating that budget, again, you should have 3 columns here, right? You should have a column of fixed expenses, you should have a column of variable expenses, and then you should have a column of discretionary expenses. And so now when you are categorizing these, your fixed expenses, we're going to go to category 1. Fixed expenses are sources of income that does not change, right? Or not even income, I'm sorry, expenses that does not change. So it's at a fixed rate. So that's like your rent. Your rent is typically the same every month. Your car note, your car insurance, those are usually the same every month. If you have life insurance, those are the same every month. And if you don't have life insurance, get you some. If you need a consultation, go ahead and book with LC Financial Solutions, and we can get you a consultation and get you some life insurance. Everyone should have life insurance because in this day and age, you never know, what can happen to you or what can happen to, anyone in your family, especially your immediate family. God forbid something happens to me and my husband is left to take care of my kids. I want to make sure that they are financially protected once I leave this earth so they don't have to worry about anything. But again, fixed expenses are the expenses that you have monthly that doesn't change. Again, rent, car note, car insurance, life insurance. Those are typically the fixed expenses that do not change within the year. And then we have your variable expenses. So variable expenses They are not really like the rent or, fixed expenses, I should say. These expenses vary. So your variable expenses would be your light bills, any type of utility bill that you have. If you may make a loan payment on student loans or something like that, those are bills that you have that change monthly. Your cell phone bill. You can technically add cell phone bill to fixed expenses, right? Because your cell phone bill should be the same every month, unless you have like a contract to where you can go into the stores and add certain things to your account, and it just changes within that. But typically, if you're not doing that, cell phone bills should go into fixed expenses. Again, variable expenses, that could even be gas, right? You want to track your gas when you get to and from work. If you don't drive to and from work and you take some type of public transportation, you want to be able to track that as well. Track that public transportation, how much you spend each week, bi-weekly, monthly, depending on how you buy your passes as well. And again, utilities, even food, going grocery shopping, that's a variable expense, right? Because you don't spend the same going grocery shopping every week. I go grocery shopping every week. I work from home, so my kids eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. And so I typically go grocery shopping every week. Sometimes I try to stretch it to every two, but that grocery bill is never the same ever. Discretionary expenses. Now, if you're looking at your bank statement and you have it open, I'm pretty sure most of your funds probably goes to discretionary expenses, right? And so discretionary expenses are going out to eat, your hobbies, luxury items, maybe for a female, nails done, going to the beauty salon, shopping, that sort. Give me 1 second. Stay kind, be mindful of sharing. Okay. Sorry, something popped up on my Facebook about my live. I had to make sure everything was okay. Okay, back to it. Discretionary expenses. Again, those are your hobbies. Going out to eat, buying lunch at work. That's discretionary. That's really something that you don't have to do because you can grocery shop and bring your food to lunch. I mean, bring your yeah, did I say that right? Bring your food, yeah, to your lunch. Yeah, I did say that right. And so again, those are expenses, discretionary expenses, and honestly, all those subscriptions that you have, discretionary. Your YouTube's, if you have the YouTube premium account, Netflix account, Hulu's, Amazon Prime, Audible, if you listen to audiobooks, any of those monthly subscriptions that you pay for, that goes under discretionary. So again, you should have three categories written down. Fixed expenses, those are expenses that do not change. You have your variable expenses, which are still important expenses like your utility bills that can vary from month to month. And you have your discretionary expenses, again, which is fine dining, hobbies, going out to eat, even maintaining yourself, whether you want to get your hair done, nails, toes, all of those things are discretionary. And when you write those out, be real with yourself. See exactly how much money you are spending when it comes to fixed expenses or your variable or your discretionary. Maybe you feel like you can't save or you don't have enough to save to create a budget. But when you open up your discretionary expenses, you see that you went to the vending machine 6 times at work and you only went to work 4 days in a week. Discretionary, right? Even I don't care if you spend $1.25 at McDonald's getting a McChicken off the dollar menu, which I don't even think they have anymore. But write down all of the discretionary expenses that you spend in the month. If you feel like 3 months is a lot to go through, just take 1 month, because honestly, all you need is 1 month, right? To go through your bank statement and see where your money went. Again, in order to master your money, you have to manage your money, right? Say it with me, manage your money in order to master it. All right, let's go ahead and move to the next slide. All right. So that was the end of week one. So you do have homework, right? So your homework for week one, which was last week. So your homework technically for this week, you're going to have two homework assignments. So your first homework assignment is to be able to track all your expenses for the week. I'm not even saying go into the month. Track it from literally today. Look at your bank statement from today all the way until next Thursday, until we hop on this live again to see exactly what you spent, how much you spent, and where did it go when you spent it. And again, be thorough and be honest with yourself, because it's only you that's looking at your bank statement. Sometimes opening that bank statement is a harsh reality of why you can't save. Like sometimes you can open up your bank statement and be embarrassed about how much money that you spent, and it's really money that you could have saved, right? And the awareness is the foundation, right? Will build for the rest of the challenge. So once you have that awareness of your spending, that's the foundation. You have to become aware of what you're spending. Even like I said, it doesn't matter if it's fixed income, variable income, or discretionary income. You have to be aware. And when it comes to budgeting, budgeting is not a punishment. Some people think budgeting is a form of punishment. No, budgeting is not a form of punishment. It's to help you get to your goals and get to that future life that you see yourself in. If you always envision yourself, driving a nice car, living in a nicer home, in a nicer neighborhood, whatever your future self looks like, we want to help you get there by helping you invest and save your money to get there. All right. So we're going to roll into week 2, which is technically this week. Let me get a sip of water. So, week 2, which is this week, we're going to talk about cutting costs and maximizing your savings, right? That's what it's all about when it comes to a budget. It's not saying, hey, you can go out to eat or you can spend money on things that you like. It's really just about cutting costs, because maybe you don't need to go buy your lunch every day on lunch break. Maybe you can make food at home and cut that down to maybe once a week or even twice a week. So, with cutting costs and maximizing savings, we want to first identify your budget leaks. What is draining your pockets, right? So, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about strategies to cut costs, and we're also going to talk about building a savings habit, and homework, right? So, I'm giving you 2 weeks of homework tonight. It's not hard, I'm telling you. Again, 2 weeks of homework, and now let's get into cutting costs and maximizing savings. So, we want to identify budget leaks, right? We want to figure out what is draining your pockets, what is taking your money, where is it going, right? You want to ask yourself, am I paying for something that I no longer use? Which could be maybe a gym membership. Maybe you're not going to the gym as often as you should be, and your gym membership can be up to $45 a month, but you're not going to the gym. You may go maybe once or twice out the month, if that. If you're not actively going to the gym, go ahead and cancel that membership. You can go to Five Below and buy some weights and work out at home, right? But I understand that sometimes people like to go to the gym to, release stress and just get a peace of mind. But if that's something that you're not using, go ahead and cut that cost, right? Figure out what is something that you're no longer paying for. I'm sorry, something that you are no longer using, but yet you are paying for. Even Amazon Prime. If you're not ordering really off Amazon on like a monthly basis, you can cut the Amazon Prime. Just pay for the extra shipping, right? It will save you money in the long run. And when identifying your budget leaks, you want to ask yourself, are there more affordable alternatives? So, like I said, when it comes to that gym membership, maybe you have the membership that's $45 a month because it's the elite membership and includes all the perks. But then they also have a tier to where maybe it's $19 a month. You don't get all the perks, but you still get access to the gym, right? So that's cutting your costs down. If you go from paying $40 a month to a gym membership to $20 a month, now you just save $20. And then you can take that $20, right, and put it into your savings account. Now you have money to save. That's a way that you can cut a cost. And again, identify budget and leaks. And if you don't have a gym membership, again, figure out what is something that you are no longer using in your day to day life and something that you can cut out to help you save money. And then another source that you can use to identify your budget leaks is, can you reduce the amount of frequency that you spend on something? Maybe you are spending, you go to work 5 days out the week and you're probably ordering lunch 4 days out the week. Can we cut that down to 2 days out the week? And also, when ordering lunch, put yourself on a budget. You don't have to spend $20 every day when you go on lunch, right? Have a budget set for the week, even say, you know what, I have $50 set aside for lunch for the week. So I need to figure out what I'm going to eat every week. If you're a person who wants to go out and grab lunch every day, figure out how you can make that $50 stretch within that week. And that way you're not spending $20 here, $25 there. And before you know it, within a week, you've probably spent over $100 just on lunch, right? And I'm not saying don't go out for lunch. I'm not saying, hey, cut all the fast food out or cut all the dining out that you eat on your lunch, but you can probably cut that $100 budget into a $50 budget, right? And then now, guess what? Now you have $50, additional $50 a week to save every week because you cut that budget down. And so next we're going to get into strategies to cut costs, right? We want to be able to save money and not spend money, right? So we want to think of ways that we can start saving immediately, right? Ways that you can, strategies, not only ways, but strategies that you can implement tonight to help you start saving, which can be, canceling unused subscriptions and membership. Again, if you have all of these subscriptions, again, I'll say maybe Prime, Hulu, Netflix. Like I understand stars, I understand, your shows come on and you may want to, watch, but figure out maybe one of those you can take away because you don't need all of those subscriptions, right? Figure out a way, say, you know what, let's make this sacrifice because again, we are making this sacrifice for the greater good. So if you say, you know what, I see my future self driving a Benz G-Wagon with the rims chrome, I wanted a limited edition, but yet you have 5 subscriptions and you haven't even saved up for your G-Wagon. Let's go ahead and cut one of those subscriptions, right? And then help you towards saving for that G Wagon that you want or whatever your goal may be. It could be even to save $500. Let's cut a subscription so we can get you to save that $500. And again, another strategy that you can use is meal prepping. So instead of going out, again, everyone is working. It doesn't matter if you're a full time worker. Oh, excuse me. It doesn't matter if you're a full-time worker, part-time worker, whatever you do, you're going to eat lunch every day, right? You should be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And sometimes people skip, but that's your business. And so when you are, again, thinking about, okay, let me just run to Chick-fil-A or let me just run to Starbucks, think about maybe buying coffee to where you can make coffee at home. That can help cut costs. So think of ways that you can cut costs but still be able to live your life because again, a budget is not a punishment. It's just a way to help you save to get to the goals and the lifestyle that you want to achieve. And also another strategy, which is one of my favorite strategies, which is why it's listed, is to use cashback and coupon apps for purchases. There are apps that you can use that'll give you cash back at certain gas stations, even your favorite little grocery stores that you go to. Look to see if they have an app and look to see how you can save. I literally only shop at one grocery store, and I only shop at that one grocery store because one, I get 2% cash back on all of my purchases. And sometimes if they have sales, I can get an extra 10 to 15% off. And by having that app, again, it helps me save because now I can track exactly what I typically buy to see if there's savings on there for the items that I particularly buy when I go to the grocery store. So it's not the cheapest grocery store around, I would definitely say. But I like the fact that I can, again, get 2% cash back and I get points. So sometimes I can get my points up to maybe $30 to $40. I think the highest I've gotten my points without spending was about $60. And so sometimes when I go to the grocery store, hey, I might just need to grab 1 or 2 items. Instead of actually spending my cash, I'm going to spend the points that I have at the grocery store, right? And so now I can use that. That is a strategy that I can use to cut a cost on buying food because the grocery store that I shop at has a program, again, where you earn points and rebates and things like that, which I love. And so once we figure out how to cut the strategies or cut the costs to help with the strategies, we're going to focus on building a savings habit, right? So again, as I mentioned before, we're going to focus on setting a short-term goal. What does that short-term goal look like for you? It could be $100 emergency fund, a holiday fund. Maybe you want to go and take a vacation this year. Figure out, okay, if you want to go and take a vacation, maybe go to Florida, see the beach. Figure out how much it costs for flights if you want to fly or drive. Figure out how much it's going to cost for a hotel, rental, and even spending expenses while you're out on vacation. Figure out that number, right? You can always go on the websites and price hotels. You can go on the websites and price plane tickets, even rental prices. So go on there, figure out what that is, and if it's $1,000, okay, now you know what your short term goal is, right? In 3 months, you want to go on a vacation and you only want to spend maybe $1,500. And now you need to go into your bank statement to see how you can cut costs to save up that $1,500 to be able to take your vacation. Right? You can't say like, "Oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, but I don't have the money." You do have the money. You just have to figure out how to save your money and how to get to it. Again, even if you are someone who doesn't make a lot of money and you may be living to pay paycheck to paycheck, which a lot of Americans are, if you live in the United States, right? A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, but to not live paycheck to paycheck and get ahead of living to paycheck, you want to be able to build a savings habit, right? And like I said, even if you don't even have $100 in your savings account, let's focus on that. That is a reasonable goal to save in 3 months. And I say short term goals are 3 to 6 months. So see how you can save $100 in 3 months. And if you feel like, oh, I can do $100, push it up, do $200, do $300 even. Figure out how to build that savings habit so you can get to the lifestyle that you want to live, right? Or you may be even already satisfied at the lifestyle that you're at. But even if you are, figure out still how to save for those unexpected times because anyone can lose their job at any time. Your spouse or your child can go sick at any time where you're not even able to go to work as you may need, right? And then now you're looking at your bank account because you don't have maybe 3 to 6 months of employment together for that or saved, right? Figure out how you can even save maybe 1 month of your salary to even get ahead, right? You want to be able to save to where you can have that relaxation and peace of mind when it comes to your finances. That is what we want to focus on. We want to focus on that peace of mind when it comes to your finances. But in order to get to that peace of mind, you have to start with a budget. You have to see what you're spending, how to cut costs, and how to save. And the final slide, I did really good, guys. I wanted to get this done in about 35 minutes. So we are on great timing. Homework, 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 homework. What does it say? I will do my homework. In order to succeed in this budget series, again, note takers are money makers. You have to be able to stay on track with the goal that you set for yourself. When you start to get off track with your goals, you're disrespecting yourself. Why do you want to disrespect yourself if you're not going to let others disrespect yourself? I mean, disrespect yourself, disrespect you. If you're not going to let other people disrespect you, don't disrespect yourself. So when you setting up this budget and you opening up, even if you don't have your bank statement with you tonight, get up an hour early in the morning. Open up 1 month of bank statement. Figure out what those fixed expenses are. Figure out what those variable expenses are. Figure out what those discretionary expenses are. Write down your goal at the top of your notebook. Write down your goals. Write down your 3 month goal. In 3 months, if you want to save $300, figure out how you want to do it with your budget. Figure out how you're going to do it after you decide and categorize all your spending and where your money is going. And even after you put your transactions in the categories of either fixed expense, I'm sorry, either fixed, variable, or discretionary, see how much money that you have over each month. Because you can have maybe $100 left over each month, but then once you look into that discretionary column, you're like, man, if I didn't spend money on going out to eat and cut off this Netflix subscription, I could almost have $300 saved each month, right? Now you can put $100 to the sides because you may want to be able to save for emergency fund of having $300. We want to put money aside for unexpected life expectancies. So, homework for next week, track all of your expenses for the week. I'm not, like I said, if you want to go ahead and dive deep in, go ahead and pull out the full month. But again, just for next week, I just want you to track 1 week worth of your expenses. So from today until next Thursday, Write down everything that you spent. When you get home from work at the end of the night, open up your banking app and see, okay, April 11th, I spent this much. April 12th, I spent this much. April 13th, I spent this much. Oh, excuse me. And then for week two, which is this week, you want to list all your current expenses and label them need or wants. And when you get to labeling your expenses, because rent, they of course we know rent is needed. You need to pay your rent, right? In order to have somewhere to stay. Utilities, that's a need. What is considered a want? Do you have to go to the beauty shop to get your hair done or your hair cut? Right? Do you have to go out to eat? Right? List all of the expenses. List all of your expenses for the month. So pull up your last month bank statements when you're doing week two homework. Pull up all of those bank statements, figure out what are your expenses. Once you list all of those expenses, go ahead and write, okay, I need that. Maybe you need to have the gym membership that you barely go to, right? Maybe you need to have the Netflix, but you want the Hulu, right? You want the Fenty subscription, right? Figure out what that need is and what that want is. And when you figure that out, add it up. Add up how much you spent on needs and add up how much you spent on wants. And when you see that amount that you spent on wants, you're probably going to shock yourself. You're probably going to be feeling some type of way, I'm sure. And it's like, wow, I spent X amount of dollars on wants. This could have been money that I could have been saving for my G Wagon. This could have been money I'm saving for my trip. This could have been money that I'm saving for unexpectancy, my life emergency fund. Go ahead and again do that. So for next week, when we come to class next week, of course, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but this is just for for you personally, because again, we want to be able to master your money. You're here tonight because you want to be able to master your money. But in order to master your money, you have to manage your money. And how do you manage your money? You manage your money by creating a budget. We have to budget. So thank you all for joining. See you all next week. I'm so glad to see everyone in the room on Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. All right, everybody, y'all have a good night. For me, it is still tax season. So I still have taxes to do, right? People still hitting me up. The 15th is Tuesday. 5 days away. If you haven't filed your taxes, what are you waiting for? Let's get those filed. I have a lot of appointments coming this weekend. I have even some people wanting to file an extension. If you need an extension as well, go ahead, hit me up. You can reach me at Letitia Wilson on Facebook. You can reach me at LC Financial Solutions on Facebook. Those are the best ways to get in contact with me. You can also text my 24-hour hotline at 630-278-3272, and we can go ahead and get you set up, whether that's with a consultation. Go ahead and send you the intake form. If you have questions about tonight's homework, you can definitely send me a text as well. If you're thinking about getting some life insurance, let's go ahead and get you set up right. Again, note takers are money makers. Let's master our money so we can master our budget. Thank you all for joining. Have a great night, and I will see you all next week. Bye.